to the Imaginary Podcast.
Peggy, so I kind of just want to break it off into this train of conversation with, I only met you, I think it was about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. Started working for you here at Cornerstone. I've had a great time here just participating, and I help you with the advertising and marketing. And I said to you before we started this, as much as I've been working with you, I don't know the backstory, the background. I've never really had this type of a free-flowing conversation with you. So anything that I'm asking or just curious about, I think will be a good relation to someone maybe just finding your company or someone just maybe finding the CNA industry or anything else that you cover. So I said, maybe some of my questions might be stupid, but there's no stupid questions in general when you're learning into something new. So to start that off, just as person to person, because I'm curious, how did this all start? Because I'm assuming you got into this industry yourself and then as an entrepreneur brought it into the education side. What was your initial inclination to even get into this as a job opportunity at first?
Well, my mother.
Really?
Yeah, because my mother has been a CNA for many, many years. And I've seen the benefits of what she was able to get from being in the healthcare field. Mm-hmm. So that's my biggest inspiration. And she's always pushed us to enter into the healthcare field. My brother and I as well. My other brother, however, she also was pushing him, my youngest brother. Mm-hmm. And he decided to go into tech. And but as far as myself and my oldest brother, were both nurses. Mm-hmm. And like I said, she just really inspired us to enter into the healthcare.
So when she was doing it, how old were you watching her and kind of starting to pick up on things? Was this as a young child or into your teenage years? When did you fully grasp what mom does?
I would say, because as kids, we always see our parents getting dressed and getting ready for work, but we never really pay attention to what our parents actually do until we're a little bit older. So I'd say about teenage years, once we're starting to identify ourselves and think about our careers a little bit more, that's when I really started to pay closely attention as to what does mom actually do.
So not saying you were pushed, but did you feel a little bit of pressure to step into it? Just from the family relation side of it?
It's a 50-50. I love caring for people. I love helping people. So that desire to enter the healthcare field was there because of who I am naturally.
It was an easy transition.
It was an easy transition. But at the same time, with our culture, it's either you're a nurse, doctor, lawyer, or you're just
that's a great list. That's a great list to have.
Yeah.
With that, so would you say you love it?
I do love it. Yeah.
So here's a great question. How long did it take for you to love it, or did you love it from the jump? And it's okay if you didn't love it from the jump. There's a lot of things that I've done in my life that I love now, like the gym, for example, that I wasn't necessarily in love with to start. So when did you really start to get the passion for it? And apparently you do have the passion because you started a whole business around it as well.
Initially, with learning anything new, there's always challenges, right? But then once you get more comfortable, and then you get more confident. So
of course,
initially there were some challenges, but then with time, with more experience, it became I really, this is really for me.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a negative thing, because I think anyone really at any point in anything they do, a lot of people can mostly say that if they've gotten into something that maybe some people love things at first sight, some people get into things they don't really enjoy. The thing I love most in life, I know this podcast isn't about me, but it's relatable, is hockey. And I'm really good at it. When I first started playing, I kind of, I wasn't too crazy about it because, it was tough. It's a change. It's different as you learn and develop and you get into different things and you really start to enjoy it and love it. And I don't think anyone can look at you and say that you don't love it, because one, just the care and the thought that you put into not only just your students, but the facility and the branding and everything that just really when I see that logo, I kind of see your face and that smile. So that's why I wanted to do content that, if you're seeing on social media, there's content with Peggy more, and she's talking more, and she's her face, I think, is the representation of everything that we do here because she's such a likable person, great smile, very easy to talk to. And it's just the truth. I've only known you for like 3 weeks. And, your students say the same thing. On Instagram, I posted, because I feel like we didn't highlight this enough, all the reviews you have on Google. There's like 55 5-star reviews, and I'm skimming through them and I'm reading them. And everyone really highlighted like your patience and the care that you give to them. And it's tough. What's it like as someone who stepped into this field? Your mom is, helped you push you into it a little bit, and then you learn to love it yourself. What's it like taking over that like teaching role? Like, were you ever in a teaching kind of space before in your life? Like, what really gave you that push to be like, not only am I going to make basically a school for it, I'm going to teach the classes. And did you ever get nervous when you first started? I see there's a lot of people in there. Like, what's that like?
For sure. Definitely nerve-wracking in the beginning because I never saw myself as like a public speaker or speaking in front of a large crowd. And now I'm doing it for a living. So in that aspect, it was something to adapt to and to get used to. But when I come into the classroom and I see my students and there's a full class, it's like it doesn't seem that in that way because that connection is there, and it just feels so comfortable, feels so natural now. So that was nerve-wracking for me. But in terms of getting into the teaching role, I never saw myself as a teacher. But then when I think about it, as a nurse, every day you're teaching. You're teaching your patients, all right? You're teaching them things that they don't know, like how to care for themselves. Like if they have a new wound, how to care for their wound. If they have a new medication, teaching them about their medication. So a lot of nursing is teaching. So even though I didn't see myself in like a teaching role,
it was an easy transition to step into it.
Yeah, because of the nursing background.
Yeah, and also being anything with nursing, you have to be personable and you have to just be good with people. So I also see that transition working out well for you, and I also see why you're so good with your students. And that point you made of like, because you have such a rapport with your students, it isn't as nerve-wracking now because it's almost like you're hanging out with people that like you truly enjoy, that you're like almost friendly with. So it's not as tough. That first day, what was that first class like?
So it's funny because the first class, it wasn't a crowd. It was just one student.
That's how it starts with a lot of stuff.
It literally was just one student. It was just me and her in a classroom.
Is it crazy to kind of see where it all is now?
Yeah, now there's no seats.
And speaking of, there's no seats. Every time I'm in here, I'm trying to film content and I'm like stepping on toes and trying to like stay out of the way while she's teaching. You are also, so I don't know which one was your first language, but you're also bilingual. So you're also teaching these classes in 2 different languages. Is there anything that you kind of have to navigate with like being able to teach the same topic in a different language, or is there a little bit of a turnover of trying to like, is it more difficult, I guess, for lack of a better term, because I only speak in one language?
I wouldn't say it's difficult, but there are times where it can be difficult because the terminology, being that it's my second language, there's some terms that I'm not familiar with when it comes to different body parts, different systems. Those terms I'm not 100% familiar with. But it's a learning process because I learn from them. I'll try to explain and be like, oh, this is how you say it. And they're like, oh, okay. And then for the next group, I remember that and I just keep using that.
When did you pick up the second language?
From early on, like when I was younger.
Okay.
Yeah,
so it was around you when you picked it up? You didn't have to go and learn it?
No, because that's the language my parents speak.
That's what I figured.
That's what they speak in the house. And you know, when they initially came to America, they were still learning English. So they were more comfortable speaking Haitian Creole with us. And then when we had family come over from Haiti, they didn't speak any English. So if we wanted to communicate, we just had to learn.
Pick it up.
Yeah.
And that's the best time to do it too, because when you're younger, you're a sponge and you kind of just pick it up. I have I'm Puerto Rican, Italian, Irish, German, and Polish, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But my grandmother on my father's side is 100% Puerto Rican, and I know no Spanish. I remember coming home from high school and saying, oh yeah, I failed Spanish, and she was like crying. And I'm like, you didn't speak it in front of me in the house as a kid. Like, how am I supposed to pick it up? I wish I was in an environment where I can that's the best way to learn a second language. Because if you really want to step into learning a different language, it's tough now because you got to go through schooling. But that's why I was so intrigued, kind of segueing into my next question. Maybe not even a question. I'd come in and I'm sitting here and I'm observing you guys and taking in the class. And I see everyone like putting these pieces in their ears, and there's these little, I'm like, are they listening? I thought they had iPods, like old school iPods listening to music. And I'm like, are they listening to music? And faintly you can hear somebody speaking off the headphones minorly. You have a translator that runs from a microphone at the top of your stand to each of the students. Does it? So my question is, so first off, that's incredible. They are hearing a live translation of what you're saying into Creole. And then when they ask questions, because I know you know the language, but do you get feedback back? Like, do you have a translation coming back to you as well?
No.
Because you have the language down. Okay, that's what I was figuring, because I was curious to how it works. So that's incredible to me in the first place. I remember when I came home from being here, one of my first days, I was telling my family about it. I'm like, it's incredible. I feel like that's something that is got to be so... It's got to make it a much more comfortable environment for someone stepping into, especially if they're not originally from this country. You're coming into an industry, which is the medical industry. There's a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? There's not a lot of risk, but like when you're dealing with people in healthcare, there's a lot of responsibility, and like you really have to be on your game. So you're stepping into a harder industry because of the responsibility you have, but also into a classroom environment. There's a ton of people in here. They don't know the first language. Have you spoken or has anyone said anything to you about how it's made their transition into even just getting their CNA license a little bit better? Because I feel like that's not highlighted enough at the school, that the fact that it's bilingual and there's devices specifically, they're not cheap, specifically to help you learn in your native language.
Yeah, definitely. We get good feedback with them and how they're able to learn and how they're able to feel more comfortable in the classroom because they can understand what I'm saying in real time. And it's not only Haitian Creole that it can translate. It can translate Spanish. It can literally translate any language. Yeah, with the click of a button.
I didn't know this technology existed in the first place. Have you had students in here and had it translated to Spanish or any other language?
We have a new class starting in April with some Spanish-speaking students. So, yeah, we're going to put it to the test.
Okay, maybe I'll be able to learn my Spanish a little bit to make my grandmother proud. Has there been any like Mandarin, Chinese, any other languages thus far, or no?
We've had people who come in speaking that language, but they have a solid foundation with English.
So it works out. Okay.
Yeah.
With that being said, so you go through, you start teaching, you go through and you start being able to interact with your students. I have a couple other topics in the medical industry I want to get to, but out of curiosity on just the entrepreneurial side, because I know a lot of people are also very big into being entrepreneurs in this day and age. What was that transition like into becoming a business owner and like getting a facility? And I know this probably took forever just to make it look very nice, and just finding the right spot and being able to have, you have the Promethean board in there. I don't know if that's what they're called anymore. I think it's called a smart board. The smart board. When I was in school, they were Promethean boards. What was just the transition like to being able to be like, wow, I have my own business, and watching it grow? Because you said you started with a class of one student to now there's 20 people walking in every time I'm in here. What's the feeling like, and how'd you get into just the business side of it?
In terms of getting into the business side, I've always done little things here and there throughout my young adult life with business and entrepreneurial. So I always knew that it was in me, and I just needed to find a way to incorporate it with nursing. But in terms of getting the building and the fixings and things, that took time. That was totally different because I never had a storefront or just an actual brick and mortar. It's
truly impressive to have a storefront for anything these days.
Yeah. So in that aspect, that was the most challenging part in getting, again, the fixings and everything and trying to figure things out, because what I've always done was just sticking to online. So this was like a whole new world, a whole new ballpark for me.
And I also under the impression that you did not do this alone. Shout out your husband, who has also done a great job with designing the website. I'm forgetting his name at the moment. I'm so sorry. What's his name again?
Sean.
Shout out to Sean. I've spoken with him a lot. Great dude. He's done so much with the website. He taught himself how to code, which was incredible. And I know he's helped you a lot. Cool. So it's nice to be able to have someone you can lean on, because it's also like, you know, you're so smiley and glowy, and so it's easy to forget that like it's a grind. And I also see how much you go through, maybe not stressed, but I watch you buzz around and get all the stuff done you got to do. You're also picking people up in a van to come to the sessions. I'll touch on that in a second. It's on a scale. I'm not going to have you rated on a scale. What's the transition been like for you dealing with all these new responsibilities as a business owner, as a teacher? Like, how have you dealt with all the stress, for lack of a better term? Because it's tough.
It is tough. So just trying to keep myself grounded. My faith helps with that. And then just finding ways to just decompress. You know, I have kids, so being able to go home and just shut off that instructor, entrepreneur side, and then just focus on my kids and just do silly things to just try to get, you know, that stress.
Absolutely. And you kind of just forget about it, and you're able to space out and enjoy the time with your kids.
Yeah. So that helps. And then just finding time for myself, doing things that I enjoy to just get rid of some of that. Because like you said, it could be very, very stressful.
I've done it myself, not brick and mortar. I can't imagine this level, but it can eat you up a little bit sometimes because it always feels like there's something else. It's like buying an old used car, and right when you fix one thing, something starts going on that car. So you're always just on your toes trying to keep everything navigated. But with that, also just touching on them, and then I'll get into some of the medical questions here. The last thing I wanted to touch on, because it was amazing to me too, and I bring all this up being I'm new to Cornerstone, and I've just genuinely been curious to ask you all this, and I finally have a chance to talk to you. So explain to me a little bit about how you're not only explaining to them the courses in their own native language, you're letting them come in here for free after on days you're not even open, and you're helping them get more training in. You're also picking them up in a van. So is it like a school bus route? Like, explain how that process is a little bit to me and everyone who's watching, because I know a lot of places education-wise through medical and not medical that would never do that.
Yeah, and that's why I do it, because I know other people aren't. And speaking from experience, when I was in school, I realized and experienced all of the barriers. So now that I have my own school, I want to eliminate those barriers. And transportation is a huge barrier. So one way to alleviate that is getting a bus and picking people up so that way they can make it to class. So with every new session, people are coming from all over the place, Stanford, Stratford, Bridgeport, so the route changes. So we kind of, on the first day of class, we talk about, okay, where are you coming from? Where are you coming from? All right, let's meet at this central location. I'll pick you up here at this time, and then we just kind of coordinate our route from there. And my dad, he helps out a lot, so he does it when I'm unable to. Yeah.
So you guys see what I'm saying, where I was like, hey, I hope stress isn't the word to use, but that's a lot to have on one person's plate when you're running a business, teaching a course, and then also you're driving and picking everyone up at multiple locations. And I've seen how many people you have in here. So what time do you start your mornings? Especially if there's a day you have to go and pick people up, and say if it's like 8 stops.
The day would start as early as 7:45, 8 a.m. Yeah, just to make sure everybody gets here on time.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I give you a lot of props. And I bring up a lot of these topics just so everyone can kind of get an idea of how hard she works, because it's someone that like I can look at as an entrepreneur and admire. So I just wanted to really highlight some of the great things she does for not only everyone here, but every potential person that could be coming in. You wanted to brush up on, and also I kind of need the little brushing up on it as someone who's part of the company now, the different paths for the medical industry that you can follow upon. And so I need you to kind of take this a little bit and kind of steer the conversation. Let me just double check the terminology of how you sent this to me, because it's something that like we're going to be transparent. We pre-discussed certain things we want to talk about. Breaking down each healthcare career path, can you elaborate a little bit onto what different career paths there are?
Yeah. So one of the common misconceptions with entering into the healthcare field is you need to spend years and years and years just to break into it. A lot of people don't realize that there's options where you can go to school for 2 to 4 weeks and come out making $50,000+ a year. And those are the courses that we offer here, the entry level training that can get you to that next level.
With that, I've been saying this, so I hope it's true. You don't need a high school diploma, correct?
Correct.
You don't need a college degree, correct?
Correct.
And I thought of this when I first came in. I'm like, the medical field is something where if you step into this industry, it's something that's super well respected amongst peers, amongst people that you move into, and also as resume material. So with those career paths, I'm curious so you said that this is something you can step into a $50,000 a year job where, if you're not aware, I think poverty in the United States right now is $14,000 or under. So that's well above the poverty line, well above what I make. But with that, when you have phlebotomy and EKG, and I'm not talking about here, by the way.
I'm like, wait a minute.
No. I wasn't saying here. I'm just talking about, Well, listen, I'm young. I'm still grinding. With phlebotomy and EKG and the CNA license, with each one of these different things, and I know a lot of people package them all together when they're going to school here, is there different kind of career paths within this world of the medical field with each one of those certifications? Like, if I just had a phlebotomy certification, compared to if I had a CNA and a phlebotomy certification, or if you kind of get what I'm saying, is there different routes? Because I saw on social media through something that you used to post that I thought you can only kind of go to work in like residential homes with elderly people, or I kind of thought that was mostly it, but it's not just that. And I saw can you break that down a little bit? What else can you do with a CNA certification?
So with the CNA certification, you can work obviously in nursing homes, but what a lot of people don't know is you can actually work in a doctor's office type setting as a medical assistant. And if you don't know, medical assistant programs, they're costly and they're lengthy. So it can range anywhere from $15,000+ for that 10-month program. And if you compare it to a CNA, you're coming into school for 4 weeks and you're paying not even half that. You're paying, here at least, you're paying $1,300, which is nothing compared to $15,000+.
And you guys do a payment plan as well, which is
and we do a
huge for a lot of people. So give me the right terminology for this. It's not an elderly person's home. It's a
nursing home?
A nursing home.
Or convalescent home.
Convalescent home. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Convalescent home. Doctor's offices. Is there anything else? Hospitals. Have you worked at a hospital before?
I have.
What's that like in a summarized fashion? Because I know there's a lot to say.
In comparison to like a nursing home, definitely fast paced. You learn a lot because you're seeing new things every single day. Whereas in a nursing home, you're kind of seeing the same, because they live there. You're seeing it's the same routine every single day. It's not like that in the hospital. So if somebody is looking for that fast pace, they're looking to learn and see new things every day, then the hospital setting would be for them.
With that, I mentioned to you when we started talking about doing business together that I have an older brother that was like really looking into becoming a CNA for some reason out of nowhere. And I was just a little surprised. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So when he was looking into it, I started doing research into it, and that's how I found you guys. So he's explaining, before I learned anything about it, he's explaining it to me like what he would be doing if he gets a certification. And I heard that people do overnight shifts. Have you done an overnight shift?
I have.
What's that like? Because I know a lot of people step into any type of job or career field, and they're kind of, used to get up, clock in, do your work, go home. What's it like staying at someone's place or at a facility overnight? Like, and what was your first time ever doing that like?
My first time ever doing it was strange because I'm usually in bed by like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And people always joke about that. Like, you're such an old lady. I like to sleep.
Get your rest.
And get my rest at a decent time. So being up at like midnight, 3 in the morning, 5 in the morning.
You're up through the whole shift?
The whole shift. It was from, as a nurse, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.
And this was this at, because correct me if I'm wrong, do also CNAs like do in living care with certain people? Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought too. So that's another side of it. Was that at someone's home, or was that at a convalescent home or a hospital?
Hospital.
It was at the hospital. Okay.
Yeah.
And so how long was that shift?
12 hours.
So 12 hours of not sleeping all the way through the night. You get home and go to sleep in the morning. Interesting. Have you ever, or have had a student, you probably have, that have done the overnight stay at someone's like home residence? And do you have any like advice for anybody that may step into that? Because that's the number one thing that I guess was intriguing to me, because I was surprised that you can stay with someone at their home facility, and also why, and like if you can explain what the process of that shift kind of would be like, maybe, if you have it.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different for CNAs sometimes when it comes to like overnights in the hospital or in the nursing home. They don't do 12s unless if they're doing like overtime. Usually it's 8 hours, so 11 to 7, 7 a.m. and then 7 to 3 and so on. So it's a little bit different in a facility, but if they're doing it in somebody's home, that's a little bit different in the sense that they're there for 3-4 days at a time and they get to sleep, so they don't have to stay up.
They're sleeping there, but they're also kind of on guard monitoring at the same time. Interesting. On top of that, just from my outside perspective, a little bit looking in, I was talking to a friend of mine he's an older gentleman, and he works for a health insurance company, and he was touching on, when I told him about the work I was doing with you, he's like, the funny thing is it's such great resume material that he was even saying in his position working behind a computer, if he had some of the experience of like a CNA or even phlebotomy or CPR, that it would also get him a pay increase, because he has certain certifications attached to his resume that when you get higher up in certain industries, they have to compensate you for. With that being on your resume, do you think other jobs will look at you differently if you have, even if it's something slightly outside of the CNA field, if they see that you have a CNA certification and a CPR for certification, a phlebotomy certification, do you think that plays well on resumes?
Definitely.
I think it does, because it shows also like the in-depth knowledge you have. But even with CPR, for example, I'll tell you a little story about me, even though the show's not about me, it's about Peggy, right? So 2020 is COVID year. I coach hockey, or I used to, and I needed to get my CPR certification. I think whether there was COVID going on or not, it kind of the cookie would have crumbled this way. I got certified for CPR. Didn't go to a class in person. It was ridiculously expensive online compared to especially what they do here. And that's not a plug. This is the truth. And I watched videos through this course. I think the course was like, I might have got scammed. It was like $350. I don't know how much it was. I might have got scammed.
You definitely got scammed.
I'm sitting here watching these videos. I'm going through it and going through it and going through it and going through it. And I finished the program and they're like, congrats, you're CPR certified. And I get something in the mail that was like a keychain and a card that said I'm CPR certified. I'm looking at it and it has my name on it. And I'm like, I don't think I can save anyone right now. I didn't try. So speaking on, I didn't try the actual dummy like you guys have over there, where you actually get to feel the depth. And also, are they called dummies?
You can call it a dummy.
Okay.
Preferably, they like to be called CPR mannequins.
The CPR mannequin dummies. So when they're interactive more than just like, a fake stale person, they have lights on them, which I was unaware of, that shows you if your compressions are correct, is it depth and pace that it shows correcting? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's the depth and the pace. And then you also have infants and child ones to be able to practice on them as well with your thumbs, and you can do the front and the back and all these different things. But long story short, I was watching you guys my first day with you at on location teaching CPR, and really understood not only the benefit of learning this in person, but also learning it with you and how easy you made it and how quickly everyone kind of picked it up. And also it was a refresher, so some people already knew, but some people didn't. The class went so smoothly, and I was watching everyone thinking to myself, like, I have no idea how to do CPR, and apparently I'm certified. So yeah, long story short with that, CPR was fascinating to me. And if you want to get certified, don't get scammed online. What do you offer with that program as well, out of curiosity? Because I know you do refresher courses, but say if for example, me, I was a hockey coach. If I wanted to get CPR certified, how would I do that with you here?
You would sign up online, or you can give us a call, and we will sign you up over the phone.
So if I just walk in, are you gonna like kick me out, or
No.
so I can just walk in too? Beautiful.
Yeah, you can just walk
messing
in.
with you. Yeah, definitely something that I put up a video yesterday of specifically showing the outside and the inside of the building, because walk-ins welcome, because we enjoy seeing people's faces, and also when you get to meet someone, it definitely helps make you a little more comfortable if you were nervous. Were you nervous getting into this field? Because like the medical field is very glamorized, but it's also very serious at the same time.
Yeah.
Were you nervous at any point or with any situation of being in this field?
Yeah, definitely. Because when you think about it, somebody's life is in your it's in your hands. You're responsible for keeping that person alive, keeping them safe, keeping them nourished. So in that aspect, yeah, it was a little bit nerve-wracking.
Do you feel, as a mother, thankful to have the knowledge of being able to save people's lives, especially with like CPR? Because I feel like a lot of parents kind of don't really, or they're not preventative. Like I know they have those things now where if someone's choking, they have what are those things called? The suction?
It's like a life vest. Unfortunately, American Heart Associations, which is who we provide CPR through, they don't really acknowledge or accept that.
They don't agree with them, or they don't provide them?
They don't provide them. They don't agree with them because there's potential for the object to get down further.
Learn something new every day.
So they don't really endorse it.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm not saying they're a bad thing, but they don't endorse it.
So even more onto my point, I think parents do not have enough precaution into, first thing I'm doing if I have kids is getting CPR certified, because I just want to be able to have that power to be able to like have the control over my kids' safety. And it's just, I didn't know that with the suction. I kind of lost my train of thought, so excuse me on one point of this, but what was I just about to say?
I think you were asking about, like, as a parent.
As a parent, yes, that's what I was following through. As a parent, are you happy that you have this knowledge and this education? And have you also like had friends that you kind of like was able to give a little breakdown, just even in short, of how to do CPR and stuff like that?
Yeah. As a mother, I definitely feel confident because I have that knowledge and that background. And with that, I'm able to educate others on the basics of CPR and what to do if, God forbid, they ever need to use it. So.
With healthcare being so, it's nerve-wracking, stressful, but it's a great experience as well. What are the importance to self-care in healthcare, which also I think is not something that's talked about enough? If you've watched any like medical shows, the fake ones with the hospitals and stuff, you see the 16-hour shifts and all this different stuff going on. But also with CNAs, and also you have an attachment to the people you start caring for, and obviously not everything goes the way it should with people in older age. What's the importance of, and how can you add a little self-care to yourself to maintain not only your mental well-being but your physical well-being while doing such a job that's so strenuous?
That's definitely important. Like you said, it's something that's not really talked about. Taking care of your mental health is crucial because you'll see a lot and you'll be doing a lot. You'll be coming across patients who don't make it, who don't survive. So that could be impactful, especially if you've built a rapport with that patient. It could be hard. And as a CNA, oftentimes, like I said, they're in a home-like environment. So they're there for many, many years. And then once the patient passes, it's devastating. So making sure you're on top of your mental health, taking advantage of the resources that the employers provide, and then just, with your primary care, connecting with them. And then just doing things that you enjoy, doing things that are safe, that you enjoy. So yeah.
So people build a rapport sometimes with the people that they're working with, and you can agree that there are some amazing people that you've come across being able to be in this industry, and that relationships that you formed with those people. Also curious, what's it like with just for someone stepping into this field? Maybe you already have your CNA certification, or maybe you're looking to get into it. What's it like dealing with some more of the difficult patients, and what did it teach you about yourself, and what did it bring out of you, and like learning your resiliency and also learning how to de-escalate things and handle certain situations? What's it like with a difficult patient?
What's it like with a difficult patient? It's difficult. It's very difficult in the sense that you can only do but so much. And then just trying to figure out why. Why did it get to this point? Is it something in the environment, like something in the room that triggered them? Is it something that you said? Sometimes it's not even anything.
It's nothing that you did most of the time too as well.
It's nothing that you've done. But if there is something, maybe it's something that they're triggered by, and then you can de-escalate before it gets to the point where it becomes way bigger than what you can control and manage. Just like with anything else, when you're having a difficult situation with a friend or family member or somebody off the street, just trying to de-escalate before it gets out of control.
And de-escalation is something that definitely comes with time. Do you have any advice or anything that someone can have in the back of their head if I'm getting thrown to the wolves right now? All right, I finished my CNA course and I got a job, boom, immediately, and it's at a facility. What are you going to say to Rocky to let him just a couple like major little pointers to keep him in the back of my head, to keep me, I don't know, whether it be safe, whether it to be for the unexpected? What are some tips that you would give me going into my first shift?
For your first shift, so if you're working in a facility, like a nursing home, for example, to keep yourself safe is what you said?
Well, just a mix in the stuff. So say if I was your son and I'm going into my first CNA class and you taught me everything you need to teach me, what's the little nudge you're going to be like, oh, by the way, like, so, just don't turn your back towards people, like little things to keep me safe, to maybe help me de-escalate. What are some little like key tips that would have helped you on your first day?
Just being, one of the big things is being vigilant, being aware of what's happening at every single time, because like a light switch, things can go from 0 to 100 in seconds. Especially when you're caring for people who need to be in a facility like that. So just being vigilant, being aware of your surroundings, of the situation, keeping your eyes open. Because things like falls can happen if you're not paying attention. Yeah. People can elope if you're not paying attention. So paying attention is crucial. Okay.
So stay on my guard. Yes. 100%. So with phlebotomy, which is a word I've loved saying over the past couple weeks, phlebotomy has been my favorite so far. Not my favorite to sit in on though. What would you say to someone that believes that they're scared of blood, or they get nauseous at the sight of blood when they're talking about phlebotomy? Because let me paint you a picture. I'm here taking videos. Somehow I got convinced into signing a waiver. I signed the waiver. It was my choice. But they're like, come on, let me just practice on you. So they're practicing. I didn't look once. It wasn't as bad as I thought. What would you say to someone that thinks, oh, I can't get into CNA, I can't get into phlebotomy because I get nauseous by blood, or I'm nervous about blood? What would you say to them about that?
I would laugh. I'd laugh because I've had so many students who come in saying the same thing. And then by the end of the program, they're pros. I mean, I literally wouldn't laugh, but I would tell them, like, listen, I've had people who come in with the same concern, and by the end of the program, they got it down. Blood, poop, sputum, none of that bothers them anymore. I would say just give it a try. And sometimes too, I let them sit in on a couple classes. They don't have to pay. They don't have to, sign up or anything formal. Just come in and just watch. Just see how you feel, how you adapt to that type of environment. How do you feel when you see the needle or when you see the blood? And then you're like, oh, it wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be.
Your last name is pronounced Colas, right?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Well, it's a long story, but it's Colas Dixon. Dixon is
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna stick with Colas for now, so that brings the question out of me. At any point was Peggy Colas scared or nervous or nauseous around blood when you started?
No.
Oh, so you're just built like that?
Yeah, I have 4 brothers. Like nothing.
I got 4 brothers. They're smacking their heads off the concrete playing basketball as a kid. So you're just like, okay, I'm used to it.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
It's given me a ton of respect for everything that you guys do here. And I hope that my questions today weren't too, I guess, off the cuff, but I wanted this to be very transparent because I think that also will show the best about, what we do here at Cornerstone, what Peggy has created, all the great knowledge she has, and also give you guys a chance to see how personable she is as a person. So when you come in to start your CNA, your phlebotomy, your anything class here, you can say, oh, that's my teacher, Peggy. She's awesome. And if you really need anything else to show you how great she is, go to Google, check out our reviews. Everyone just can't stop raving about Peggy. I'm waiting for someone to compliment me on my videos and say, I like Rocky. Oh, there we go. I lost my mic. Going too crazy over here. I think we've been going for 40 minutes. Do you have any final thoughts or anything you want to cover or anything that I missed that we can continue to talk about because we got time that we can brush on or we can wrap up for today?
One thing I would say is if you have any doubts or any concerns about joining the healthcare field, I would definitely encourage you to at least try. Try something entry level. Try something like CNA just to build that foundation and get your feet wet versus 100% committing to maybe like a 4-year program or like a 6-year program where you're still uncertain and you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars. And don't be ashamed because there's a lot of shame surrounding entry level courses. Like people are like, oh, I want to be a CNA. All I'm going to do is wipe butt and it's
just not the
like
truth. It's just not the truth.
It's not like that. And it's a huge milestone. And that's really why we celebrate it because their success is our success.
Absolutely.
It's the community's success. And that's why we go so hard to get them to recognize that them entering into this field is not nothing small. And it goes beyond that too, because we get mothers, we get fathers who come in, and once they walk across that stage, they're like, that's my mom, that's my dad. They did it, I can do it too. And then with that, they win, the community wins. It's a huge win. And with that, they're able to put food on the table for their kids. They're able to reach bigger and better goals within the field. They're able to climb that ladder. So it's very important that they understand that side of it. It's not nothing small. It's a huge accomplishment.
Absolutely. No, it takes a lot of work. And you see how happy I haven't been at a graduation yet. I'm super excited to go.
Yeah.
You see how happy everyone is and see how proud they are. And everyone's posting on social media and everyone's taking pictures with the friends they made in the classes and they're holding their certification. And it is something huge. And that's why I know I respect that you go so all out with the graduations because they earned it and they deserve it. And obviously graduations aren't cheap to throw to. So,
no.
You're financially invested into these students in so many different ways, from transportation to graduation to the equipment to translate the language and just keeping this beautiful facility set. You have all the different bells and whistles to be able to teach everything and help everyone pass their exam on the first try.
Yeah.
The one last thing that I remember I was saying earlier in the podcast, I had something I wanted to say and I forgot because we were touching on it a little bit. I put up a post on our Instagram and it was a trivia question. And it said, how many, I know it's worded weird, but it was how many jobs did I see on Indeed and CT today for CNAs? And we did a poll. It was 12, 17 to 22, 25 to 27, and then 55 plus. The number one answer on that poll, I believe, was 17 to 22. I sat here one day and I, with a pen, went on Indeed, typed in CNA. And every time I saw a CNA job hiring right now in Connecticut, I took a tally. I stopped at 55. So I thought that was an incredible thing to highlight, just so everyone knows that this is a field that you can get into that's credible, that pays well. But talked about the job market a little bit earlier. There is an obscene amount of opportunities to where I'm about to sign up for this course if I don't accidentally get it for free by working here. It's incredible how many different opportunities there are for this field. And also we touched on that it's not just convalescent homes, hospitals, doctor's office, things like that. So if this is something you're interested in, or say you're in a position where it's okay if you don't have a job and you're interested to stepping into a career field and not stepping into working at like a spot where it's just like, hey, I work at UPS, or hey, I deliver Amazon packages, and you really want something that does well, I urge you to go check out our website. It's cornerstonemedicaltraining.com. All the information's there. There's an About Us. You can see all of our courses on there. You can contact us in any way if you want through there, or you can just call. It's also on the website. Really, really take a deep dive into Indeed and see if there's a job out there that you'd like to pursue. Look at the pay. Look at the hours, the salary, all that stuff, and see if that's enough to convince you to be able to be like, I want to step into this industry. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, basically, and then we can wrap up. Just from your experience, I'm new here, so is it always this, for lack of a better term, popping with the jobs on Indeed for CNAs?
Yeah, for sure. And it's going to get even more popping because according to this research through Mercer, which is an agency that predicts the trends in different industries, they are projecting over 400,000 a shortage of over 400,000 CNAs in the U.S. in 2026.
Actually?
Yeah, that's less
400,000?
400,000. Yeah. So there's definitely job security.
That's why there's such a huge discrepancy between the amount of people that are available to fill these positions and why there's 55 plus different positions available.
Yeah, and that's in the U.S. And another misconception is if you're a CNA in one state, you can only work in that state, where you can literally apply to work in different states. So I had a student who finished the CNA program. He was certified in Connecticut, and then he ended up getting a job in Wisconsin, and he's making $35 an hour as a CNA. Most nurses don't even make $35
an hour?
$35 an hour as a brand new CNA.
Like, what is he doing? Heart surgery? That's incredible.
$35 an hour as a brand new CNA.
Wow.
And they paid for his housing. They're paying for his housing.
And they put him up too?
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much that can get me out to Wisconsin, but $35 an hour in a house, that would do it. And also, you can only get that opportunity, apparently, if you have a CNA certification. Why do you think that is, that there is such a lack of people certified with CNA license?
I think a lot of people don't know that it's an opportunity that's available to them, that's accessible to them, or they think it may be too expensive. And the reality is, like you mentioned, we have payment plans, but there's also grants, government grants that will literally pay you to enter into these type of fields.
Wow.
So you have literally no financial obligation other than, whatever else you need to pay to get here. But we offer the transportation. So you just have to,
even if you're signing up, regardless if you get grants or not, you're recouping the majority of that initial investment within your first week.
Yeah, that's a very good point. You'll make it back so quickly.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to end this podcast right here with this, because I need you to verify something for me. The reason why I heard about, so this is literally how we just talked about how a lot of people don't know about this being an opportunity. I heard about CNAs, and this is an opportunity, through my brother, because for side money, every once in a while, he would do Uber. This kid gets into the back of his car. I think he was like, probably like in his 20s, probably around my age, 25, 26. And he's telling my older brother about how much money he's making being a CNA. And I know there's a little bit of a discrepancy between $50,000 and up. Verify if this is true for me, because it might not be, and it's not a negative thing if it's not. He's telling my older brother, he's like, listen, I'm staying at these people's houses. I'm taking care of them. I'm going through the night shifts, and I'm making like close to $3,000 a week.
Yeah.
I'm curious to if that's true or not.
No, that could very well be true, because people pay top dollar for private aides to be there around the clock. So
he said he's there all the time. He said the most he's made in a week is like $4,000. And my brother pulled up and dropped him off. It was this young African-American male, dropped him off at this really nice mansion.
Yeah.
And he left, and my brother got his number and he was texting him. So randomly, when I came back one day and I'm talking about it after being here, my brother calls the kid he dropped off in the Uber, and he's like, hey, my brother wanted to hear a little bit about what you did. And that's what he was telling me. That's life-changing money. That is life-changing finances. It takes hard work, dedication, a certification, but it opens a ton of doors. And it's absolutely incredible. And I think you're changing a lot of lives, not only just from your students, but also all the lives your students are changing. So I think Cornerstone is a absolute amazing thing to have, not only in the Connecticut community, but Fairfield County, Fairfield, and just you're creating opportunities for people. You're creating jobs, creating healthcare workers to help take care of people where there's a shortage of 400,000, not 400, not
insane.
40. That's unfathomable. So if you'd like a job, if you'd like to even just come check out Cornerstone, if you'd like to be a CNA, RN, certification for anything, come check us out at cornerstonemedicaltraining.com. My name's Rocky Savo. This is Peggy. And it's been a great podcast. We're probably going to do another wrap up in a second. But yeah, Peggy, thank you so much. I had a good time. Did you have a good time?
No, this was fun for our first one. This was really good. I think we should do more.
Yeah, so we'll be doing more. Listen, this is going on YouTube, I'm pretty sure. And then you'll see small clips of this on our social media. Please follow us on all platforms. It is Cornerstone Medical Training on Instagram, Cornerstone Medical Training on TikTok, Facebook. Get the Facebook popping. And do we have any other socials? I think that's it.
Instagram,
Facebook, and TikTok. Yep. And keep a lookout for if we do billboards soon. We'll get some stuff going. But yeah, appreciate you guys and thank you.
Welcome to the Madre Podcast.